Welcome to the Women's Gut Health Podcast, where functional nutrition meets ancient wisdom to bring you grounded insights and practical tools for your wellness journey. Join Lara, wellness wizard and licensed Eastern medicine practitioner, and Molly, dietitian and gut health expert, as they unpack trends, tackle bloating, balance hormones, and help you thrive in modern womanhood without completely losing your frickin' mind. Let's do it. Hi there.
Hello, my dear. We're back.
We are back. Happy to be here.
Yes.
Okay, so now what's happening is this episode's coming out in mid-January, and they call mid-January the time that everybody quits their resolutions, right?
Yes. It's like the fizzle out phase, where you still have that leftover energy from the culmination of the holidays, but you are deeply tired at the same time. And you're like, okay, I can rally New Year's, woohoo! And then 2 years or 2 weeks later, you feel like you're right back to where you started at the end of December. And
Yes.
you're like, okay, great. Now what do I do? What can I actually do here to help me move forward this year with my goals and aspirations?
Yeah. Yeah. So we wanted to talk to our listeners about some reflection questions and also what is the winter season? Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which is so good because I think when we think about the winter season, we're all slower. We put on a little weight. We kind of go to bed maybe a little bit earlier. Maybe we miss our window. Hopefully not. Um, it's darker. We're more contemplative. But I think the biggest piece, in traditional Chinese medicine is the winter season relates to the water element and it relates to the kidneys, and that includes the
Mm,
adrenals.
mm,
And so, one of the things I like to think about is when you're kind of going through these reflection questions, and even just this time of the year, how can you set yourself up for success with very small changes that can help you respond to life, the world, your community, your food, your kids, your job, all the things that come up in a way that you feel like you're making decisions from a place of groundedness and that is within your own essence.
mm.
And I say essence because the energetics of the kidneys is excuse me, the where the chi hangs out in the kidneys, what type of chi hangs out there is kind of like our life force. The word that we use is jing. It's Jing, like it roughly translates as essence.
Mm.
And if you are in a place of calm and alignment with your goals and what you want moving forward, you can make decisions from a place of your essence and you feel so much more on track. Like that self energy is aligned and engaged, and you don't feel like you're getting derailed from what you truly want to do. And in order to do that, we have to feel good physically, emotionally, mentally, all of it. So the idea is to have these questions so you can reflect and say, where am I getting off track
Mm.
when I'm making decisions that aren't making me feel like I'm aligned with what I truly want and need?
I love that. Absolutely. Now, we've designed these reflection questions also to kind of get you into a headspace where you are reflecting, and then you're also in a place where you can set some loose goals to move forward. So, whether they are, and we'll talk about that later, but it's nice to get into the reflection place and get into that happy, kind of loving feeling.
Yes, it's so good.
Okay. Well, then let's do it. So, do you want to start?
Sure. So the first question, I love this one, and I'm glad that we're opening with this one. But what made you feel the most fulfilled last year?
That is such a good one. And by fulfilled, so it could mean that you poured into your own cup by doing more activities or by taking more time for yourself, or what does it mean to you?
Yeah, to me, fulfilled is, kind of it when you put yourself in that box where you have made a decision that is with alignment with yourself and what you need moving forward. And it just feels like it flows. And you, at the end, feel like, okay, I'm going to check that box. Like, for example, maybe you're working with the sleep, and you want to work with like the beginning and the end of the day, so that, you know, the start and the end are where you're giving your body messages that it's time to wake up and it's time to go to sleep. So maybe you make a non-negotiable at, you know, at nighttime, that your bedtime will, you know, you're not getting into bed any later than 10:30. And you know, you're, when you're waking up, you're going to make your bed, so that it's like, okay, that nighttime is done, we're moving forward.
Hmm.
And you know, maybe by March you realize, oh my gosh, like I've actually, um I don't even recognize, you know, it's not even, I'm not putting any effort into doing these two things, they're just naturally happening.
Hmm.
And you feel so fulfilled within yourself that you stayed with that goal, and it takes zero effort anymore to be able to have that sense of like, yes, I did that, check, now I can move along, you know, I've laid down a great foundation with sleep, now maybe we can start talking about what I'm putting in my body or my relationships or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, number two, what's something magical that happened? So I love this one because I feel like magic can be found in everyday life. Like if you see something that is just really, really beautiful. So if it's a vista as you're driving, or this incredible rainbow, or anything along those lines. Maybe it could be that you rediscovered an old connection, or you kind of found joy in working out, and that brought you some other kind of, just like more energy or something. It doesn't have to be like this huge thing, but I think
Right.
magic happens every day. And so when we look back at where was that magic last year, it helps us to put in a place where we can build on that and create more magic for ourselves this year
Absolutely.
and
And I think
notice it.
even just, yes. And I think just trying to describe what magic actually is so hard. It's a very untangible, I think, in our world. And our
Mm,
world is so like task and goal and you know, goal oriented and really like push forward focused, that it's hard to kind of stop and embody what actually might feel magical.
mhm,
You're like, when did, and I think for me, some of the most magical moments that I've had is when I actually have a recollection of being extremely present with my partner or my kids, or maybe even on a walk or something, like just being very in tune with the things that are around me, myself, and my forward goals all at the same time. Because I find that it's a big struggle to feel that way. And I feel like it truly is a magical moment when everything kind of aligns. You're like, oh my gosh, you know, and then you look at the clock and it says like 1111, and you're like, oh well, that's cool, now I know I'm in the right place. You know, you kind of are able to see all these little pieces or maybe intuitions that kind of are playing out and aligning for you. And I think that's really great. It's just really hard to think about because we don't live in a place where magic is fully encouraged, you know?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, what's our next one?
Let's see here. Um, let's see, what do we got here?
What
What
made
made
you,
you
yeah.
feel the most loved?
Mm,
The most loved. Oh, I just still cannot stop thinking about that moment where I was laying on the, you know, kind of falling asleep on the couch because my partner snores like a walrus, and he was in town, and so I was on, he passed out in my bed, so I was like, okay, I'll go sleep on the couch so he can get some good rest. And my son came in and he kind of looked, and I think he couldn't tell if it was myself or John, and he's like, came up closer and he saw that it was me, and he pet my head like a few times and then kind of like tucked me in and then was like, good night mom, love you. And I was like, oh, I
mm.
feel so loved right now. That was an amazing
Oh,
moment.
oh.
um yeah, but I think also, you know, when it's love for yourself, right? Like
Mm,
when you think about how you are holding people's hands and encouraging them to make the best choices for themselves, you know, within their diet and what does and doesn't work for them. Imagine how great that feels when it just becomes the norm to feel good all the time and know that the energy that you put in has given you a space to like receive the love and know that you gave that to yourself. Like sometimes I think what made you feel the most loved might be that you actually just took the time to focus on yourself.
Oh, I love that. For me, it was definitely that we adopted a cat this year, and he is
Yes.
just the sweetest, most wonderful little boy. But like seeing him go from this scrawny little guy to this huge, like, he's got so much floof and he has this huge mane now, and he's just like really thriving. And
Yes.
to know, like I feel proud that we were able to give him that home, and it just really makes me feel loved because he obviously loves us so much. And you like bring this little animal in who, you just pick him up and take him somewhere else. Like it's got to be a lot. So to be trusted and all of that, I just think that's so nice.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, and he loves you guys. That's so
He's
cute. Remind me of his name. What's his name again?
spicy.
Spicy.
My baby
He's
cat.
so spicy. That's the best name ever. I love that.
He's getting better and better at cozy time, which I'm so excited about.
Oh, yes. There's nothing like snuggling with a little kitty. They're the best.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, the next question is, what was your biggest challenge? And I think to, look at that, absolutely. Like, so the one thing, right, that happened last year that was so challenging. And then if you want to break it down more and kind of twist that into a goal so you don't get stuck in like that, and then this and then that, because it's so easy, right?
Yes.
Looking at your day to day, every day. Okay, so where in the future this year can I improve? And on that, so like, how can I make it my day to day easier? But also, how do I want to make my day to day easier? And then what do I just think that I should? So, for example, like thinking that you should, quit. Whatever it is, eating seed
Let's say,
oils, but it's not something
sure.
that would be feasible for you, and it's making your day to day harder, then that's not something that you have to do, right? So we see there are a lot of opinions being broadcast to us all the time, and I just want you to take that time to remember, okay, these are things that I actually want to improve that will move the needle, and these are things that are like flies buzzing around that aren't really pertinent maybe to me.
Yes, exactly. And like want versus should,
Hmm.
and be aware of what actually is going to work from you, I think is such a huge part of what you're saying there, right? So you look back and you're like, okay, my biggest challenge was, let's say it's an interpersonal relationship, maybe at work or something, and it's causing you to have like just this consistent low grade stress, right? And you're like, everybody thinks I should just, forgive this person or ignore them. They've got like 15 shoulds of how you should handle this person. But what you deeply want to do is actually just move along from that job because you recognize it won't change, right? Like the hugest challenge is just to peacefully accept that it is what it is and move along. But there's
Absolutely.
15 shoulds of like people have a million things to tell you, and you've got this brain that's moving around of like should, when it's like, is that, and coming back to like the kidney energy and the water, the kidney energy and the water and the ability to be flexible with what works for you, is that, do I actually want to do that? Like, do I want to use that much of my own essence in order to make my relationship with this person better? Or do I just want to peacefully accept that it's not something that will work, close that door, and make space for something where I'm not just leaning into all the shoulds in life, but doing
Hmm.
what I actually want to, that feels like what's aligned with me? And that's really hard to do. Like
Hmm.
I mean, closing my practice, it took me a year to decide whether or not I was going to close my practice, but I'd been thinking about it for like a long time. It's a big
Yeah.
challenge to let go of something like that, but eventually it's like, okay, I have to peacefully let go that the insurance cog just isn't sustainable anymore, at least for my lifestyle that I want moving forward.
Hmm.
So, but I was like, I should stay here for the patients. I should stay here for this. I should stay here for that. And it's like, wait. I just don't have to be in that container. I can still be here. I want to be here, but I'm not going to should my way into continuing to be feeling crappy about it.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really love the should part too. I should stop eating gluten. Oh, I should start taking this magnesium. Oh, I should start doing this. I should do that. No. you don't have
Adds
to
up.
do. Yes, it does. And it's so, there's so much coming at you all the time about whether or not what type of decision you should make for your health every day. And having someone like you or myself by your side where they're able to kind of take a 5,000-foot view and be like, well, you know what? Actually, all maybe you just need to wake up every morning and breathe.
Right,
Maybe
right.
it's that simple. Yeah.
Well, and this is something that I've had to learn too, because I think this used to happen to me before I was in this space, and now I know that it wasn't just me. But when you start an elimination diet and then you think, oh, and I'm also going to do this, and I'm also going to get rid of this, and I'm also going to, not eat any processed foods. And it's like, okay, well then here I am in the grocery store for 3 hours, like not able to make any decisions, and I come home with a bunch of food that I'm not going to eat. So that's not going to
Yeah.
help, right? And yeah,
No.
I mean there are plenty of things that we could do, and there are plenty of things that we hear about, but what's the one or two things that will make your day easier? Like full stop.
Yes, I think that is a great segue to kind of the next question too. I think it plays really well into that, in that it's like, what is one boundary that you set last year that has now become a new habit? And I would
Mm.
even maybe throw the word non-negotiable in there too. Like, what is a boundary or a non-negotiable or something that is fixed?
Oh,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
that's okay. We'll
Um,
pause it. That
what's been
thing is
happening
really
here at
going,
your
huh?
house? Yeah, it's been randomly coming on all day. Okay. So like I think that's a really good segue into, the next question, which is, what is one of the boundaries or like non-negotiables that you set for yourself last year that you now look back and reflect and I'm like, wow, that's a habit. Like I don't even think about that anymore.
Mhm.
And you know, I think that has a lot to do with like you reflecting again too on like what made my day easier. Like it might have been because you just committed to that one thing and all of a sudden it was this positive, cumulative snowball effect into the next thing and then the next thing. But you
Mhm.
have to do that one thing first, as opposed to like what you just said, like I'm gonna do an elimination diet and also gluten and also work out this and also
Right.
work on my related and it's like, oh my gosh, one thing at a time.
Exactly right. Yes. Okay. I love the next question, which is what is something you have been yearning for and haven't put into words yet? And to me, this is goes back to kind of that journaling and self-reflection and understanding, getting to know yourself and taking some time to get to know yourself. Because if you're feeling unfulfilled, I've been seeing a lot of if you don't change anything, then 2025 is just another day, another series of days. It's not a new, fresh anything. It's the same. So
Right.
if you don't know, if you're feeling unfulfilled and you're feeling like there's more to life or there's more to, you know, your relationship or your health or your diet or whatever it is, than the place that you're in now, really reflect and see, try to pull out what that is. Um, because you deserve to put that into words. And sometimes it just doesn't get put into words. So I think, for me, worthiness is such an interesting concept. And
Mm,
I've been really learning that, like, a lot of pre programmed thoughts actually do have to go back to making sure that I remind myself and teach myself that, I am worthy. And I just think that that's so interesting because I could break it apart and call it 100 different things and then just say, "Oh, well, I'm just, not in a good place or having a hard time," or no, I mean, it really, let's find out where it comes from and start to
hmm.
work on that and start to, really kind of lean into fixing what's actually wrong instead of just constantly feeling unfulfilled.
Yes. Yeah. And having a sense of feeling worthy and seen and fulfilled, that was kind of what we opened up with today. Like, what has made you feel the most fulfilled?
Hmm.
Like what is that sense of like yearning is such an interesting word. Like when I think about yearning, I think about just this. It's not your mind, it's not your heart. It's like this force that embodies every single one of your cells that that they're all pointing in this direction, and you may not even be able to make sense of it, but you just know that's the way you're supposed to go. It's a little bit like when maybe you meet a new love interest and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting from this, but I know that I'm going to move in that direction because I can just tell. Maybe it's not just purely sexual, maybe you're mentally connected, your heart feels it, your whole body just says that is the direction I need to go. Like, to me, that's a yearning. But there's
Oh,
also
yeah.
desire with that too. Like, you can't, I shouldn't say you can't, but it's not just about feeling that, soul, like spiritual soul kind of pull somewhere, but also yearning, I think, also involve it's a complex set of emotions. I think it includes desire. Like, what is it
Hmm.
that you like want within
Hmm.
that pull? Like, what do you want from that? Do
Yeah.
you
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I just want to wake up in the morning and feel good every day. That's like, I have a strong sense of yearning for that. But boy, does it take a lot of things during the day and the night to make sure that that happens. It's a full-time job,
Right.
but I'm
Well,
willing I'm willing to do it because I feel it in all of my cells that I like want to wake up feeling good in the morning.
and identifying the skills needed to do that. So is it that you need to learn, not you, but the general you,
Hmm.
us, need to learn how to manage time better or drink more water or, eat earlier in the day so you get a better sleep so that you wake up earlier, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe stress management techniques throughout the day of just like, don't forget to breathe, or just set a timer for 1 minute and close your eyes and breathe when you feel
Yeah.
a sense of overwhelm so that you don't get into this cascade of hormones that are really hard to get out of. And when you spend so much time in this like stressed out place, it takes twice as much time to get you out of it. And your rest isn't fulfilling when you spend most of the day in a stressed out place. So yeah, where do you interrupt that cycle so that that sense of yearning to have like a sense of peace and calm actually gets tended to?
Amazing. Okay, what's the next one? Last one.
Oh man, I think that was it, dear. Oh no, I'm sorry, there's one more. What did you let go of?
Mm,
It's hard to pause. It's hard to not just pause on that one. Be
mhm.
like, so many things. I feel like last year, just in, the landscape politically and just with our environment and our communities trying to form themselves into a different way after COVID. There's been so much transformation just energetically on all levels of community that I feel like we have kind of been forced to let go of an enormous amount of things.
Mhm.
I remember when COVID first hit, there was, there's your primary group of people and kind of your secondary and tertiary and, beyond. And I feel like if it wasn't the first and second layer of, people that I or interact with, those third and fourth layers just dropped right off. Like, I
Yeah.
had to
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like let go. There wasn't as much time, and there wasn't, it was just a different way to navigate the world. And, it could be something as simple as gluten,
It could
or,
be.
the amount of fucks that you have to give at work. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that come in and they're like, I'm just so stressed out. And I'm like, you are in a season of getting rid of all of the fucks that you have. Like, you are an amazing human. You will do a great job. You will continue to do well, but you don't have to put your whole worthiness, kind of bringing that
Mhm.
back into like your performance and your, feedback and all of that. Like, you can do a great job and not give as many fucks. And you can let go of the whole idea that there has to be this enormous amount of satisfaction that comes from, work, especially if it's not work that's rooted in purpose, right? Like, you're trying to figure out what that is. I just feel like it's a great idea to not put so much stress on yourself about how much you care about that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's shifting that energy into a different pot of energy that is more focused on how you are going to get through and put yourself in a place where that type of like fulfillment from work comes from allowing your purpose to come to you,
Mm, absolutely.
as, as opposed to wasting it on something that isn't really worth it.
Well,
What'd
I
you let
think,
go of, Molly?
oh, what did I let go of? Well, I think honestly, I think that I let go of a lot of kind of that deep my default state of defaulting to the negative. And that was a huge project of the year. So,
Yeah.
like, oh, of course it'll never, oh, of course I can't, oh, that kind of thing. And I
Mm,
think what I really have learned to do is interrupt that thought at least. So even though I'm probably not defaulting exactly where I want to get, like, I do feel confident that, the person who, oh, there's a lot that I let go of in terms of just, like disbelief, right? Like I am going to choose to just like boldly trust fall into the universe, I guess.
mhm, mhm,
And in
yeah,
all situations. And if I don't do something perfectly, that's completely fine. And I just really am all about being authentic. So where we look at what we can let go of, then have we grieved for what we let go of? Have we taken space for some of these things that maybe we have room for now? I think there's so much involved when you start really looking at these questions, and just being able to go back and forth, with where you want to go based on where
mhm,
you've been.
yeah, yes, yes. I think the biggest thing I let go of was trying to control the things that I cannot control,
Mm,
which, you hear that all the time. And you're like, I
mhm,
feel like I could literally learn that lesson every day, all day long for the rest of my life. Like that's just
mhm,
one that's always right at the top. You try so hard to be like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then you're like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to go back a few steps and go a little bit different direction because there's no flow there. It's more of a push. It doesn't feel like it's authentic. Things aren't aligning when I'm going in that direction. So I have to kind of back up and try something different. And
mhm,
when you think about what really makes you feel fulfilled and where your yearning lies, it may have kind of been in that direction, but just trusting that if it isn't aligning and you have to kind of pull back and take a different route, that it's terrifying and scary. But it's also, if you can't make that space for that yearning to build and for that positive feedback loop of what is working to continue to like help even just with your habits. um, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
okay, here I am. I got to just keep moving forward in a direction that feels terrifying, but I'm not going to continue trying to beat my head against the wall. I
Humans
think,
aren't meant to be peaceful, we if
mm-hmm.
we if we biologically were designed to just sit and be at peace all the time, then as a species we would have been wiped out long ago. you know
Yeah,
like
it's
we're
true.
supposed to be on guard, we're supposed to be looking for the woolly
Yeah.
mammoth. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a lesson that we have to actively relearn every day to remember that there
Yeah,
is not a woolly mammoth anymore.
right.
So how much energy are we really spending spinning our wheels?
Yes, that's so true. And how when you approach each situation, you can kind of like, I like to take it down to this like practical level. So like let's say that you really do truly want to continue to move forward. You're clear with your goals. You know what they are, but it's like when you're in those moments, you're like, I want to retrain how I react. Kind of like you were saying, you defaulted to the negative. Like, how do I get myself to have a thought process that feels a little more aligned with what I want? And what I love to remember, at least for this time of the season, is that, you do need to be like water. You need to be flexible and be able to, um, go as deep as you need to, or get into a freeze state or evaporate. Like water is so flexible in all those different ways. You have many choices. But one of the things I love to think about is, am I going to expend energy on this, or am I going to preserve my energy on this? Is it worth it for me to use my energy on this, or should I keep my energy and let that go?
Mm, I love that.
You only have so much every day when you wake up. You got to preserve it. And the world is wild and it will take it from you if you allow it in an
I
instant.
know
It's set up.
it's
I
true.
mean, It's set up to be that way.
It's true. Okay, so I have two more things I want to say really quick.
Yeah.
Number one, from here, from your reflection questions, if you're thinking, oh, knowing what my goals are seems really overwhelming, I think just sitting down and doing a brain dump of everything that you want, and then looking back at that brain dump and thinking, okay, what are the two or three things that I really want? Goals, setting every single goal that you have for the next year is, I think, a little bit. There's a higher chance that probably we won't get them all done. Whereas if you set
Mhm.
a goal between now and April 1st, right? What do you really want and why do you want it? So if you want
Mhm.
to have better gut health, why? Do you want to be able to go out to dinner with your friends and not worry? Do you want to be able to drive
Right.
to work without stopping at a gas station? Do you want to be able
Mhm.
to, kind of have a calm nervous system and chew more and enjoy food and enjoy cooking instead of viewing food as the enemy or to something to be feared or avoided, because that's going to help you get what you want. Knowing why you want it and what it's going to be like when you have it is going to help you get it because you know more specifically what you're looking for, and it's easier to get what you want if you know what you're looking for. um,
Yeah, the why is so clutch because when you are inevitably faced with the human, the inevitability that you're going to backtrack, you're going to make a mistake. Life's going to throw things at you that are going to take you completely off your trajectory. But again, knowing your why will bring you back to that place of foundation and you'll be rooted within your own essence and know again, oh, okay, now I'm back here again. This feels fine. I forgive myself. I'm graceful with myself for what happened. I responded in the best way I knew how with the tools that I have. And now I'm here rooted in my essence again because I know why.
yep, yep. And then the last thing that I wanted to say was there is a video which we will link in the show notes that where they did an experiment with this rice or water. There are many of them. And they looked at them under a microscope. And so there were three of them. And one of them they didn't say anything to. One of them they spent blank amount of time saying, I hate you to. And then one of them they spent blank
Oh,
amount of time saying, I love you to.
yes.
And the one that they said I hate you to went rotten, and the one that they said I love
Yes.
you to didn't. And they were in the
Mm-hmm.
same, everything else was the same. So if you find yourself, in a week or so, not at the gym 7 days a week, like you said you'd be, instead of saying, oh, you stupid idiot, I knew you couldn't do it, you can say that and then be like, wait a minute, 7 days a week didn't work for me. So, what I'm going to try now is 3 days a week. And then when you meet that 3 day a week goal, you can add four, you can add five, but, you know, goals should be like water too. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the only way I've ever been able to achieve anything really is by trying, failing, adapting, and trying again. I don't think that brute forcing your way to make something exactly what you think it should be is
Yes.
necessarily going to get us where we want to go.
Absolutely. And I was just going to bring in that should to
Mm,
just kind of come full circle with that is that maybe if you go back and reflect on what sort of state you were in, when you decided you wanted to work out 7 days a week, did your intuition tell you at that time that's probably not sustainable, that isn't going to work for you, but you in your mind said that's what I should be doing? Like if you reflect back, there was probably some self-talk happening there where your intuition was giving you the answer, but you didn't listen.
ugh,
It was more of being influenced by the shoulds
I love
instead
that.
of, yeah, instead of what works for you.
Right.
I think it's right there most of the time. We just kind of choose to, for whatever reason, it's not a bad thing. It's just, sometimes we allow other things to get in the way of aligning with what our decisions that make the best sense for us truly are.
And things will get hard, and that's okay. You
Yeah.
you stay
Kind of
tough and
inevitable. They better get hard, otherwise you
yeah.
can't understand what the good times are. It's
Ugh.
the yin and the yang. We got to go back and forth.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are so excited for this year. We have so many great topics coming up. I think next week we're going to do break down some popular diets for you like keto, and talk about
Ooh,
maybe if, when, or if it would be a good idea to do some of these things. So I'm really excited about that one. And we've got all other kinds of topics, but we are new episodes every Saturday. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Laura.
thank you, Molly, and all the listeners. It's so lovely to have you guys here. It's fun to be able to offer some help in the best way that we know how.
Yes, absolutely. So lots of fun things on the horizon, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. I love it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We offer personalized support to clients in many ways and would love to work with you. Reach out to Lara at Lala's Wellness and Molly at Women's Gut Health for more information. Unlock your full health and hormone potential with Super Cute, Boom Bomb, and Best Tea. Check out the link in the show notes for more. See you next Saturday.